वंशी विभूषितकरान् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरा दरुणबिम्बफला तरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तपः तत्त्वज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Jai Shri Krishna to all those who are participating in this beautiful satsang. We all know that the topic we are going through is chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. As I mentioned last week, these 4 verses, 8, 9, 10, are the heart of 12th chapter. The cream of message which Bhagavan is trying to convey is given in these 4 verses. Why it is so? Because Bhagavan has given us how to proceed on the path of devotion to reach Him. And He has given 4 sadhana, 4 methods, 4 practices that a devotee can adopt in order to reach Him. And that He has given in a graded form. And the grading is according to aptitude. If you are able to do this, that's it. If you are not able to do this, then this. So in that way, He has given 4 alternatives, starting from Samarpana Yoga, that is mantra 8. He talks about surrendering your mind and intellect onto Him. We have gone in great length to discuss about the importance of offering your mind and intellect to Bhagavan. Then in next verse, mantra 9, Bhagavan says if you are not able to surrender your mind and intellect as it is, then make an attempt, do practice, involve into it, repeatedly keep trying. Try and trying. Trying for what? Trying to surrender your mind and intellect. That is the practice of yoga. Then in verse mantra 10 and 11, Bhagavan talks about Madharth, Bhagavadarth karma and Sarva karma phala tyaga. We will go through these gradually. Let us see what Bhagavan talks about in verse mantra 10. He says, Abhyasepya samarthosi mat karma paramo bhava madartham api karmani kurvan siddhimavapsasi. Abhyase api. If in practice, asamartha asi, you are unable. So, mat karma paramaha bhava, intent on work for me. Karmani kurvan, by undertaking that is mat artham api, for my sake also. Siddhim apsasi, you will attain perfection. That means, if you are unable to perform the yoga practice that was given in verse 9, be intent to work for me. By undertaking work for me as well, you will attain perfection, that is, identity with Brahma. Now, when Lord talks about inability to perform abhyasa yoga, that is, practice to surrender mind and intellect, if you're not able to do that, then at least you intend on work for me, that is Madartha Karma. We'll come to that gradually on to that. Then he goes on to say that by undertaking this also, that means you will attain perfection. He has already mentioned earlier that by surrendering your mind and intellect onto me, you will be with me. And if you practice for the same, again you will be one with me. Now he assures that even if you undertake work for me, that will also lead you to perfection. So that is a as well, api, this word is important here. By undertaking work for me as well, you will attain. So there is a guarantee here also that you will reach me, you will attain perfection. What is the difference here? When Bhagavan talks about surrendering of man and buddhi, that is Ishwararpanam, it is called Parabhakti. Parabhakti means you are sinking in within, introvert, अंतर्मुखी, भगवान को अंतर में देखते हैं. Other is बहिर्मुखी, extrovert, outside. So there is a question of surrendering mind and intellect onto me, not scattered here and there. It's concentrated on to center. While Bhagavan, when he talks about undertaking work for me, he is talking about what is called that is called parabhakti. When we talk of Ishwararpanam, that is parabhakti. We have discussed about that earlier. Here, Bhagavan is talking about if you are not able to perform parabhakti, that means concentrating on me, then you go roundabout way of doing it. That is aparabhakti, that is extrovert working for me, that's outside. Effort to please me with your activities outside. Now, when we talk of Madartha Karma or Apara Bhakti, this Apara Bhakti is Madartha Karma, also called Bhagavadartha Karma. Madhusudan Saraswati talks Bhagavat Karma, that you are directing your activities on to those which are pleasing to Bhagavan. If you do something which pleases him, that is apara bhakti. Indirectly, if you are not surrendering yourself directly, you are doing something to please him. And that is called apara bhakti. In Gita, Bhagavan has talked about this in chapter 9. In verse 14, he says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridhavartaha नमस्यन्तस्य मां भक्त्या नित्ययुक्ता upasate. Always singing my divine glories with great determination, dridhavrataha, and humbly bowing down before me, they constantly worship me, nityayukta bhaktya, in loving devotion. You see what is happening here? We take our body to be mind. Actually, body, when we talk of this structure you have the combination of that part which is destructible, that is anatma, and atma, we engage our various compositions of the body in the activity of the world outside. यहाँ गए वहां गए, ये क्या वो क्या, सारे कर्म हम जो करते हैं, for whatever reason, we engage the constituents of composition of मन, बुद्धि, इंद्रियां, शरीर, सारे इन सबों को संसार में लगाते हैं. While Bhagwan is there sitting, we in a way ignore him. If you consider one is the universe, is body of Ishvara, similarly, this body is that of Atma. So the Atma, to please those things, activities which are pleasant to Atma, that is bhakti. That bhakti you perform to show that the Lord sitting within you is Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe Arjun Tisthati. We all remember this. We know very well that Bhagwan baithe hain. But do we think all the time when we are performing action, whether the actions we are undertaking, we are carrying on, is it pleasant to Bhagwan? Are they Shastra Vihit? Are they according to the Shastras? Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karja Vyavasthito Gyatva Shastra Vidhanyoktam Karma Kartur Miharasi. You should be performing actions which are Shastra according to the injunctions of Shastras, and those actions are pleasing to Bhagwan. That will not incur, those become a karma. That karma will become a karma, will not bear fruit or vasana, and will not add on to impurities. So the issue here is, we have been provided with so many components. Are we using that to please Bhagwan? The Bhagwan is there, that has to be realized. Engage every component of the body to please Lord within. स्वामी विवेकानंद जी कहते हैं, नर सेवा नारायण सेवा. If you are serving the humanity, you are serving Lord, you are serving God. Now, knowing me as the prime cause of creation and perishable, worship me. That is what was mentioned. Let me go through this verse here. Okay, let me hear. Okay, in this verse, we talked about constantly worship me and knowing me as the prime cause of creation. Okay. When we talk of knowing me as the prime cause of creation and imperishable worship me, that's what Bhagavan has said. Now, in this sentence, there are words which mean that there is one Bhagavan to which we worship. There is one we talk of which is imperishable. So, are we talking of Bhagavan which is imperishable here? Are we talking of Bhagavan we worship, or the prime cause of creation? You see, in this one sentence, various concepts of Bhagavan has been put in one place. I take it from what I learned from Swami Sir Priyananda ji, when he talked about how one conceive the existence of Bhagavan. Malik ji just talked about Bhagavan and Lord and presence of Lord everywhere, and he gave a beautiful discourse on that, as just we heard from him. Now, Bhagavan can be taken as incarnation. Now, when Bhagavan is incarnate, अवतार जब भगवान का होता है, राम कृष्ण जो भी अवतार हम जानते हैं, 12 अवतार, उस अवतार में when they come in, they have a kind of job assigned to him, and they perform particular, there is aim for that avatar. For every avatar, there is definite aim. And Bhagavan come in the human form to execute that. So there is a kind of limitation. That's why Bhagwan Ram has to cry out. How can you think Bhagwan will cry? But he had to cry because he was a human being. With all kinds of emotions, everything was there in Purushottam Bhagwan Ram. So the question of when we talk of incarnation, when that physical form of Bhagwan which incarnate is Bhagwan, though is Bhagwan, but there limitations are there because he's embodied. Then there is another one called transcendent Bhagwan. That is the Sarvotkrishta, that he is the creator, he is sustainer, he is the one takes resolution. All the powers are there, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, Sarvagya, Sarvasaktiman, Sarvavyapi, all these are in that Bhagwan which is taking care of the whole world in creation, sustain, everything. Then there is immanent Bhagwan which is perceivable everywhere. In 11th chapter, Bhagavan gives the Vishwarup. That is again a concept of Bhagavan which is present patte mein, phool mein, nadi mein, paharon mein, all these places is imminent there. You can be close to him there. Then there is everything beyond everything. He's everywhere. This is Advaita Vedant. Aham Brahmasmi. There is nothing which is no flower, no tree, no, everything is Bhagwan and Bhagwan itself. That knowledge, when one gets that everything is nothing but Brahma, my Bhagwan hai, that is another concept of Bhagwan which one can conceive of. So in these forms, when Bhagwan is talking about to Arjuna and Arjuna is listening to him, Bhagwan here in embodied form in Bhagwan Sri Krishna, who is incarnate and who is talking to him and telling him that you should submit yourself on to performing those actions which are all pleasing to me. Now, we'll move on to the next verse. That is verse 11. Bhagwan says that Athai tadapya shaktosi kartum adyogamasrita sarva karma phalatyagam tatah kuru yatatmavan. If etat api, even this, अभी जो भगवान ने बताया कि मेरे लिए कर्म करो, वो भी नहीं कर सकते हो. असक्तः असि, you are unable to work. ततः then मम योगम आश्रितः, having resorted to yoga for me, सर्व कर्म फल त्यागम कुरु, renounce the fruits of all actions. Yat atmavan, by becoming controlled in mind. Your mind must be controlled. Meaning is that if you are unable to work even this, then having taken refuge in me, renounce the fruits of all your actions by becoming controlled in mind. Now you see, in this, when you read this verse, it gives an impression that Bhagwan is talking about taking refuge and then renounce the fruits of action. You will see that is not exactly what it is meant here. If you are unable to perform what? Bhagavadartha karma, if you are not doing that, having taken refuge in me, this having taken refuge in me is part of bhakti. Madhyoga Mahasritaha is part of bhakti. So this part of bhakti is associated with Bhagavadartha karma, karma for Bhagwan. While when we talk of Sarva Karma Phalatyagam, that renouncing the fruits of all actions by becoming controlled mind, this is part of Karma Yoga. So you see, there is here at this level, up to this level, Bhagwan talked about surrendering mind and buddhi. He talks about putting effort onto that. He talks about Bhagadarth Karma, that is again for bhakti. But now Bhagavan talks about Sarva Karma Phalatyagam by putting your mind under control. So it is this part, Madhyoga Mahasritaha, associated with this Bhagavad you talked about. This part is associated with bhakti. So now Bhagavan is telling, if you are unable to do that, then Arjuna, you perform action, but renounce all the fruits of action onto me. Now, the key word here is Sarv Karma Phalatyagaha. Now, when we should know what is phala, then only you can tyaga. Sarva Karma Phala, this results of all your actions. But what is phala? फल क्या है? सर्व कर्म के फल हमारे क्या है? हम कर्म तो करते हैं. The results of those karma that we should surrender on, we should renounce those, we should not get attached to that. That is what Bhagavan is talking about. So we know we have got the sets of laws of karma. There are 3 sets. We have got action reactions, we have the cause and effect, and you have effort and destiny. These are equal and opposite. Reaction is equal and opposite to action. Effect is equal and opposite to cause. Destiny is equal and opposite to effort. These are the laws of karma. In this law of karma, the second one is that what is concerned at the moment. That is cause and effect. So every effect has a cause. We should realize that before the effort comes, there is a cause for it. If you are able to avoid cause, effect will not come. So there's no need to surrender that. That happens when you are performing certain kinds of karma, which becomes akarma. So karma ko akarma mein badalne se, you don't have phal. There's no result. So you don't have to surrender it. So the important point is, what is that cause which brings on this phala, which is not a karma, which Bhagavan says you surrender onto me. So that phala, in fact, every action that leads to something manifestation, जो भी उत्पन्न होता है वो सारे, और उत्पन्न होकर नाश हो जाता है, वे सारे कर्म फल हैं. Anything that emerges, anything that manifests and are likely to get destroyed, those are in fact karma phala. So इस कर्म फल में संसार आता है, इस कर्म में शरीर आता है. ये संसार भी कर्म का फल है, यह शरीर भी हमारे कर्मों का फल है. अगर हमारे कर्मों के फल ऐसे हो जाए कि हमारा एंड में there is no vasana left, then we can get realized. We are no more likely to get born. So that if there is karma phala remaining, if there is a vasana remaining, then that is the reason for you to get birth. And where to get birth, in what yoni, everything is determined by that karma phala, that is the remnant of whatever you have not been able to exhaust in this present world. Now, sansar ka creation may be, if you go through the theory of evolution, of creation, why भगवान ने क्रिएट किया, ये प्रश्न बहुत बड़ा प्रश्न है. People do go deep into understanding as to why भगवान एको अहम बहुश्याम क्या खेल करने के लिए अपने कंपेनियनशिप के लिए उन्होंने भगवान क्रिएट किया, लोगों को क्रिएट किया. देयर आर सो मेनी थ्योरीज आर देयर. यू कैन गो थ्रू थ्योरीज ऑफ क्रिएशन of universe. Literatures are full of that. One of them is, at the time of dissolution, what happened? Everybody got lost, and all the vasanas of every individual, they got together, and they all became one. So that is Moola Prakriti. That is the concentrated Moola Prakriti, which subsequent, in which all the Satogun, Rajagun, Tamogun are equally balanced. So there is a balanced Moola Prakriti, which is the composition of all the gunas of everything that existed at that time. At the time of dissolution, they all got all one together into one form. And that one, when bang or something happens, then all the three gunas get disturbed, and that's how creation took place. So the जो पूर्व जन्म में जो वासना रह गया था, उसको तो उसको चाहे बढ़ाना है या उसको खत्म करना है. ये हर एक इंडिविजुअल का, when you are born, the tendency or the inclination of every individual is to get rid of vasana. It's to move towards center, so that you have got rid of the vasanas and be one with Brahma. Now that requirement for an individual to get rid of vasana was not fulfilled at the time of dissolution. So that is right. उस right को पूरा करने के लिए भगवान ने again create किया beings को with whatever vasanas they have, and everybody was given opportunity to get rid of their vasana and again get into the world free of vasana. So संसार का creation ही कर्म फल है. Excuse me. तो ये शरीर ही हमारा कर्म फल है. So renunciation of karma phala तब होगा when you look into the cause of that phala. And what is the main cause of that all phala? Is our attachment. Our attachment with the body, our attachment with संसार. ये संसार से आसक्ति, संसार से चाहना, संसार से लगाव, संसार से कामना, ये ही कॉज है हमारे शरीर का, यही कॉज है संसार का. So must realize that it is the cause of the effect that has to be renunciated, and that is our desire for sansar, desire for the body, desire for performing action for the body. So the importance here to remember that sarva karma phala tyaga is not to renounce action as such. Action, आप किसी फल को आप भगवान को चढ़ाते हैं, या फल को आप खा जाते हैं, या फल को कूड़े में फेंक देते हैं, फल का क्या दोष है? दोष तो और आपके करने का भी दोष नहीं है. उस करने के पीछे आपका भाव क्या है? क्या आपने फल को भगवान पर श्रद्धा के साथ चढ़ाया या यूं फेंक दिया? The question of whether you have, what is the idea behind performing any action. So the importance here is that it is not the action which gives rise to phala. It is the idea behind, a concept behind your action. So not to renounce action as such. Also, the fruit of actions performed as per scriptures. आपने शास्त्रानुसार कर्म किया है, तो वो सब आपके कर्म अकर्म हो जाएंगे. उसको त्यागने की जरूरत भी नहीं है. तो एक तो हो गया कि कर्म का कोई दोष नहीं है, कर्म तो करना है, बिना कर्म किए आप रह सकते नहीं है. No, the fruit of actions, आपने जो भी अच्छे कर्म किए, according to scripture, you perform that action and there is no result will come out of that. So there is no need for tyaga. So what is to be renounced? You renounce asa, asakti, mamata, kamana. That is behind the action, behind the performing action. If you have all these all must be renounced. I will explain all these things again next week. Thank you very much. I don't know whether I am going a bit deeper on these things or skip into the mantras very fast, but seems like you're all very highly elevated individuals. I like to share some of these thoughts with you. Thank you very much. Jai Sri Krishna. Jai Gurudev.